Hi, welcome to the global discussion. Today, I want to talk about automation and accountability and how both of those are actually redefining vendor relationships right now. Artificial intelligence, it's reached a point where its capabilities, they feel almost frictionless at this moment in time. Tasks that once required structured workflows, vendor ecosystems, and very specialized expertise can now be executed in seconds. Translation, long considered both an art and an operational necessity, it sits directly in the path of this transformation. And therefore, it's no surprise that executives across global enterprises are asking a deceptively simple question. If large language models, if large language models can generate multilingual content consistently, why do we still need localization vendors? At first glance, the logic appears sound. The promise of speed, scalability, and cost reduction aligns neatly with many boardroom priorities. Yet beneath this simplicity lies a far more complex strategic dilemma. Should enterprises build their own AI-driven localization capabilities or risk dismantling the very systems that ensure quality, compliance, and brand integrity? The illusion of simplifying generative AI is redefining and reframing many expectations. What was once perceived as a very specialized function can now be viewed almost as a commodity by some. Translation may no longer be seen as purely a linguistic discipline, but more as a technical output, something that can be automated, optimized, internalized. And this shift has led many technology leaders to advocate for a more of a do-it-yourself localization platform. Why outsource when you can integrate multilingual generation directly into your content pipelines? Why pay for human review when models can continuously improve? However, this perspective often underestimates the true scope of localization. Localization, as we know, it's not translation alone. It's the orchestration of a language, the culture, the regulatory nuance, the user experience, and the brand voice across markets. It involves governance frameworks, domain expertise, terminology management, and quality assurance mechanisms that have been refined often over decades. Reducing this complexity to a single AI capability, it introduces risk, not just operationally, but strategically. A strategic tension is building, and the emerging tension can be framed as this sort of do it yourself versus maybe even destroy your own business. On one side, enterprises see an opportunity to take control, building internal AI driven platforms. It promises cost efficiency, faster time to market. It aligns with broader digital transformation agendas, and it reinforces technology's role as a central driver of growth. On the other side, there is a less visible but equally critical concern. By over automating localization without the necessity of safeguards, organizations definitely risk eroding the very foundations of global trust. Errors in translation are no longer just linguistic inaccuracies, they can lead to regulatory violations, misinterpretation of legal content, cultural missteps, and ultimately damage to brand reputation. In highly regulated industries, the consequences extend beyond the perception into compliance and liability. Localization leaders are not anti AI, but many adopted automation and optimization early. They resist oversimplifying a complex function at the intersection of language, risk, and customer experience. The real value of localization vendors, therefore, the question is not whether AI can translate it, it clearly can. The question is what enterprises lose when they remove the structures that surround translation. Localization vendors have traditionally offered more than linguistic output. They provide that scalability, governance, accountability, domain expertise, and act as risk mitigators by ensuring content is accurate, appropriate, compliant, and align with brand standards. In this AI-driven fast world, this role, it doesn't disappear, it actually evolves. Today, I would put forward that vendors serve as AI integrators, supplying curated data sets, fine-tuned models, and of course, human in the loop quality frameworks, allowing enterprises to scale multilingual AI development and deployment. The assumption that AI eliminates the need for vendors overlooks a critical reality. Technology without governance does not reduce cost in the long term. It shifts cost into risk. Now, why enterprises are still tempted to build despite these risks? Well, the DIY approach continues to gain traction. There's several reasons for this. First, economics are persuasive. Marginal costs of generating additional content with AI is near zero at this point. For organizations managing vast volumes of multilingual content, the potential savings are somewhat significant. Second, control is attractive. Internal platforms offer to some degree greater visibility into workflows, data, and performance. They may align with broader trends towards platformatization and internal capability building. And thirdly, there's a perception of inevitability. AI disruption is not theoretical at this point by any stretch of the imagination. It is happening in real time. Now, for many leaders, the question is not whether to adopt AI, but how quickly they can do so without falling behind. These drivers are creating more and more momentum, often faster than governance structures can adapt. So, what's the missing layer? Well, accountability, what is often absent from the DI narrative, is it's that clear model of accountability. When a localization vendor delivers content, there is a defined ownership of quality. There are service level agreements, escalation paths, contractual obligations. In a fully internalized AI model, this accountability becomes diffused. Who is responsible when AI generated translation leads to a compliance issue? Is the technology team that built the system at fault? Is it the marketing team that published the content? Or is it the model itself? So, without clear answers, organizations expose themselves to operational ambiguity. This is not a theoretical concern. It's already emerging in enterprises experimenting with fully automated content pipelines. So, the framing of DIY versus vendor dependency is, in many ways, a false dichotomy. What is emerging instead is a hybrid model, one where enterprises will leverage AI to increase efficiency while maintaining structured partnerships for governance and quality assurance. In this model, AI handles the scale, it accelerates content generation, enables real-time localization, reduces those turnaround times. Human expertise, whether internal or external, provides the oversight. It ensures that outputs meet the standards required for global markets. Localization vendors, in turn, evolve into strategic partners, providing AI-enabled services, integrating with enterprise platforms, and focusing on areas where human judgment remains critical. This approach does not eliminate costs, but it optimizes it. More importantly, it aligns with the reality that globalization is not just a technical challenge, but a strategic one. What leading organizations are recognizing across industries and yet forward-looking organizations, they're beginning to recalibrate that approach. They're investing in AI. They're beginning to realize that you can't do this in isolation. They're building internal capabilities while redefining those important vendor relationships. In summary, you need to move from transactional outsourcing to real, true strategic collaboration.